All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone's having a good day. We are obviously covering the personality unit today. So once we have some people on, we'll get this bad boy started. Let me get a proper screen up for you guys. Hope everyone's doing all right tonight. First week of school is tackled, taken care of. Or the first week back. It's a better way of saying it. First week back from school is done. No more issues there. Well, except for Friday, but it's mostly done. It's good. It's good. Yo, yo, yo. What's crack-a-lackin', guys? What is crack-a-lackin'? Danielle, you should just ditch anime. That is my advice to you. Unless it's Hayao Miyazaki. It's just it's just not that great. It's not that great. What were you watching, Daniel? We're waiting for some more people to get on, so we got time. Let's see, my first period has arrived. That's good. How's everyone doing today? Is everyone doing all right? Hope everyone's doing okay. Hey, How to Train Your Dragon is a good movie. Mm-hmm. 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 Hello, Alyssa. Daniel cannot stop. Stop. All right. You mean being here on time? The stream starts at 8:30, and you were here at 8:30. I'm not sure what how you are attempting to grub for points there. Anyways, Daniel, you watch anime, so that's like negative points for you. It's true. It's true. Maybe if you guys were like talking about psychology stuff, asking each other questions. So, okay. Hello, Jesse. Indeed. All right. So, honestly, guys, here, let me. Well, don't make bad life choices, and people won't chop you. Okay. So, what all do I need to go over everything, or do you guys can we just ask questions on things you don't understand, so I don't have to go through all of this, or do I need to go over everything? What is the consensus? We can go over defense mechanisms. It's true. I see you, Daniel. I hear you. I can go over the the behavioral school of psychology is kind of silly. Yeah, I can go over that. Here, I don't want to go over everything. It's 8:30, but I'll go over everything. But do you need to go over everything? Like, it's a lot of stuff, guys. I did it in class. No, I'll be here till 9:30. I'll be here till 9:30. See, Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, I'll go over everything. All right, I'll suck it up. Okay, here we go. Let's start at the beginning. Let's do this. We got this. Janelle, we're doing everything. Everything. If you're awake, no, listen. That's not cool. We're going over everything. We got this. All right, let's go. Let's do this. Let me pull up the right screen. It's gonna be exciting. I'm ready. All right. So, let me get both my screens up. Yeah, we'll go over schools of psychology. Yep. We'll go over the stuff quickly. A lot of this stuff is pretty. I'm glad that Arian is here. Yes. Now she'll make. Ooh, Arian, do you want to know what I just had right before you got on? I feel like you need to know this. I feel like this is important. I had a little Reese's cup. It was good. It was really tasty. Was it good for me? No. But was it good? So that's what I ate right before that. So judge away. You probably are someone that likes like Milky Way or something. No, I did not have a salad. No, I did not. I had a Reese's Pieces. Yeah. Yikes. Whatever, Arian. Reese's Pieces are the bomb. They're so good. I only had one. I only had one. Okay. Let's do this. So, you owe yourself $8 for chocolate. I do not know what that means. Okay, so no, I don't buy chocolate. I don't buy things from students. I don't make that kind of money. Ooh, dark chocolate over Reese's? Wow. Well, Daniel, you do make bad life choices. I had no idea. Yeah, I know, but I don't buy stuff from students. You ate 3 and you be shaking your head at me? SMH. SMH. All right. Okay, so let's get to business. Easy peasy. Personality, person's pattern, thinking, feeling, and acting. It is the way This is the part of you that you put out to the world. This is what other people see. This is how you act. This is the way that you think about things. All that stuff. Okay, so several ways of measuring this. There are lots more, but specifically we're just going to talk about the TAT, the Rorschach, and the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, MMPI. Remember, TAT and Rorschach are both this type of projective test. And if you go back and you look at projective test, you're getting the person to unconsciously, and unconsciously is your keyword there, unconsciously look inside of themselves and express those things. So it's not like, you know what, I need to take away the word look. The person is unconsciously taking stuff from the inside and putting it out there. And the way that you do that, like the TAT, giving a subject a picture that is ambiguous. They see an ambiguous picture and they answer about what is happening in that picture. And oftentimes, what's going on is their answer to it relates to something that is going on in their own life. And that's the projective part of what's happening. So with the Rorschach ink blot test, we are looking at the we're looking at a bunch of ink blots and we are trying to identify what is happening. In the end, guys, the Rorschach ink blot test is just a really, really bad way of expressing a really bad way of expressing like a person's personality. And one of the big issues with it is that it's like this idea that, or this concept that there's no like set answer. Like when you think about another personality test, if a person answers in this way, it should explain something about what they're doing. But there's no set way of describing what a person's certain answer and what that means about their personality. So just make sure that it's the most widely used projective test, or was the most widely used, but it doesn't tell you anything. Okay, Minnesota Multiphasic Theum MPI. Once again, this is the most researched and standardized psychometric test. And you don't really need to know about like its origins. Do know that there's been several updates. It's a super long test, and oftentimes it's good at picking out people with different psychological disorders. So, let's see. Okay, so then we moved forward and we started just talking about Sigmund Freud. We were looking at the psychoanalytical approach, and remember the psychoanalytical approach, Sigmund Freud, unconscious mind, all those are big items that we want to pair together. When we're looking at our personality, this is kind of like the structure. This is how you would define our conscious, pre-conscious, and unconscious. It's kind of the structure of our personality. Remember, conscious mind, things that we are aware of. This is the part of us that we project out to other people. This is what other people see. The pre-conscious is the stuff that's just slightly beneath the surface. It's the things that we have to kind of dig for. Someone tells you about something, and then you're just like, wait a minute, oh my gosh, that is just like me. And the unconscious mind is that, as it says, deep hidden reservoir, holds the true us, and it's all of our primal desires and fears and stuff like that. Psyche, remember, id, ego, and hey guys, like I said, I am breezing through this. If you guys have a question about this stuff, let me know. If you need me to talk about something a little bit more in depth, but otherwise I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. So we have our id, ego, and superego. And remember that the id is the first thing that develops. It develops, basically at birth. It's all in the unconscious mind. It works on the pleasure principle, so it's constantly seeking instant gratification. So I want it, and I want it right now. I don't have the patience to wait for it or for anything. And then we are attempting to avoid pain as much as possible. And we don't really care about the future. Like we don't weigh the consequences of our actions in the future. So I'm going to eat, instead of eating one Reese's Pieces, I'm going to eat 12 Reese's Pieces. Why? Well, because it wants to, because it tastes super delicious. But I'm really not concerned, and I'm really not concerned about what that's going to hold for me in the future. That would be your id taken over there. Okay. Yeah, I know. 12 Reese's Pieces is a lot. Amir agrees. Okay. Now the ego develops afterwards, and listen, I had one, guys. I promise. I only had one Reese's Pieces. Arian, just don't. Arian and Amir, I know you guys are worried about my health, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Okay. So ego is your reality principle. This is what keeps you together. This is the part of you that you like present out to the world, and you have to. It's kind of stuck in the middle. The id is pulling on it. It's trying to get you to do all these things, instant gratification. Janelle, I appreciate it, but be nice. But I do appreciate it. So no more, no exposing of anybody. So we don't we don't want people. Well, I guess I was calling out Daniel, so yeah, my bad. That's true. Hey, but it was a cool. Wait, what cartoon character was it? You told us this the other day. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The guy from the Dragon movie. Yeah. Yeah. Love and the crushes are different things. So it was love, obviously. So no. Oh yeah. Right. Okay. This is this. Okay. I'm focused. Thank you. Thank you, Lori. I'm back. I'm back. Okay. Um. Oh, gross. Daniel, stop it. Stop. So okay, so superego is the super nice person. That's your conscience. It's trying to get you to do really nice things. It's trying to uh it makes you feel bad for the things that you do that you do. I didn't talk about this, but this is a really big point. It also has a function of persuading the ego to turn to moralistic goals rather than simply realistic ones and strive for precision. Behavior which falls short of the ideal self may be punished by the superego through guilt. So the idea of guilt, Sigmund Freud was just like, oh yeah, the reason why you feel guilty is because your superego is coming in and being like, you are so bad, you shouldn't have done that. So I didn't talk about that in class, but that's a big point right there. Okay. Um, for those of you who missed Wednesday's lecture, was this Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday's lecture, or maybe was it? Yeah, Wednesday's lecture. You missed some weird stuff. No, Tuesday's lecture. This was from Tuesday's lecture. You guys missed some weird stuff. We talked about Freud's psychosexual stages. Simply put, Freud's psychosexual stages are Freud believed that sex, in a very big way, pushed us to grow and develop. It is how we change over time, is our sexual desires develop and change and progress. So there's 5 stages. There's the oral, the anal, the phallic, the latent, and the genital stage. uh, Janelle, it's a good idea to have that in reference. um yeah, just know the ages. Yeah, it's easy enough, just know the ages. So um what each of no, it is not considered accurate. It is highly susceptible. There's basically no scientific backing for really any of it. So, yeah, good question. Um, and you'll get a lot of that when you read about the Neo-Freudians. They're kind of like, this stuff isn't real. So, you have the oral stage, and yes, that is true. Uh, so not only the oral stage, but you have oops, sorry, 1 second. Just had a student email me. Wait, was this Mahira? Mahira, you're on the stream. What are you What are you emailing me for? Can you just tell me? Wait, hold on. Mahira, you're on the stream. Why are you emailing me? You goofball. Yeah, I know. I know you guys are doing stuff. What did you say? Yeah, of course you guys are gonna take the quiz on Monday. You goober. This is just an opportunity for you to like hear it from here, or hear it, instead of having to come in for tutorials or something. I'm gonna make you take it tomorrow. Okay, so um, the different places, the oral, the anal, phallic, genital, that's where we get our sexual gratification. That is where the places in our bodies that we pursue sexual gratification. So the oral stage, as it says, it's mouth oriented. So breastfeeding, children explore the world with their mouth. They're always like putting stuff in their mouth. They like pick something up and they throw it in there. Okay. Then you have the anal stage, and as it says, the focus of pleasure is in the butt, and it's talking about our ability to poop. And kids from 1.5 to 3 years of age, that's what their focus is. They are focused on potty training, and so their success in potty training gives them, based on, uh, yes, Amir, food counts. Based on, no problem, Mahira. I don't mind calling you out, even though you're sending me emails. I don't know why you're talking in chat. I was 100% going to call you out again. So yes, everyone, Mahira's sending me emails instead of just talking to me on chat because Mahira makes interesting life choices. But that's okay. She probably wanted to do it on the sly, but it didn't happen. So, yep. Hello, Mahira. Okay, so um, once the anal stage is finished, we roll into the phallic stage. This is from round 3 to 6, and this is where all the real weird stuff happens. Oedipus complex, electric complex. Basically, the son falls in love with the mother, wants to have sex with the mother, and then realizes that he can't because the dad's in the way, and then the child becomes afraid that the dad is going to find out, and if he finds out, he'll probably cut off his penis or circumcise him. And so the child is so afraid that he feels like the only way to cope is to join the father. And so that's why, um, in in Freud's opinion, the reason why little boys act just like their dads is because they have realized that they can't have sex with their mom, and that the only way to survive their dad's wrath is by doing just what they do, by acting like them. So if you can't beat them, you join them. So that's all super weird and stuff. So we move on. Oh, and girls, by the way, have penis envy, and later on that Karen Horney, one of the psychologists, is like, no, that's not true. Um, we are girls don't actually have penis envy. They go through the electric complex, and boys, on the other hand, go through womb envy. So they're jealous that they can't have babies. Okay, so next we have the latency stage. This is 6 to puberty. During this time, wrong thing. Uh, During this time, there is no pursuit of sexual pleasures. Those sexual urges are repressed. They kind of are pressed down. Um, and the child, starts to try to make friends and to, focus on school, find hobbies, stuff like that. Um, and um, and so all of that sexual energy, and as I was talking about here, is sublimated. It's channeled into something else, and you won't need to specifically know that. I won't use that sort of language, but it's a good idea to know. And then finally, we hit the genital stage. Now, the genital stage, you have your sexual attraction is normal. Your sexual desires come from your genitals, either your penis or vagina, and it's during this time that, um, how do I want to? It's during this time that we deal with our fixations. Now, I haven't really talked about fixations yet, but fixations are problems. They're errors. They happen when a person doesn't properly move through a stage, and so when a person, puberty is like 12 to 13 ish. Yeah, age range for puberty is like 12 to 13. So, that's always depending on the kid and when puberty hits. So, oh no, not 7 to 12. Oh yeah, 7 to 12. Yeah. Okay. And so, you know, if you didn't properly go through the oral stage, well, now you're going to you're going to bite your nails or chew gum all the time or have something in and around your mouth constantly. If you didn't properly go through the anal stage, you might be really messy or you might be anal retentive. If you didn't properly go through the phallic stage, you might have sexual aggressions, you might be envious, you might be all sorts of stuff. And so these fixations so you might have a phallic fixation or an anal fixation or an oral fixation. All of these fixations are dealt with when you're in the genital stage, puberty and onwards. Okay. Whew. Oh yes. Oh yes. We got much deeper into it during class, so I apologize for those um, who missed class. It was a Tuesday was a fun talk. Okay. So, excuse me. I take a drink of water. All right, next we go into defense mechanisms. So, guys, easy peasy. The defense mechanisms are just our way of protecting us from the crappy stuff that happens in our life. They are all coping mechanisms. So we've got a ton here. Let's just go through these really quick. Whoop, I went too fast. Okay. First, repression. As we said before, pushing traumatic or bad thoughts into our unconscious mind. This allows us to forget things, and this allows us to. Um, but this is something that still, in a major way, affects us. We are still heavily affected by these repressed memories. Okay. Next, we have denial, as it says, not accepting or dismissing the ego-threatening truth. So I was using Ben, my friend Ben, as an example, where he, um, drinks and drinks and drinks, but says he doesn't really have a problem. And the reason why he says he doesn't have a problem is just once he admits it, then he has to deal with it. So, so this is just pushing this issue away because we aren't specifically ready to deal with it. Displacement, you take your anger out on someone else. I come home and I'm angry, and so I punch a hole in the wall, or I yell at my brother, or I kick Teddy, or something like that, which I really just said to get a reaction out of you guys, but I would not kick Teddy. He's a dog. He's cool. I wouldn't do that. Poor Teddy. Okay. Next, we have projection. So this is you taking. This is having you take something that you are struggling to understand, something that you find that is icky and gross, and you take that image of yourself and you put it onto someone else. And I really like this last part where it says projection is often the result of a lack of insight or acknowledgments of one's own feelings and motivations. So oftentimes a lot of this, um, a lot of this stuff comes from us just not being able to cope with our own issues or understand our own issues. And so we take it and we put it on someone else. So next we have reaction formation. And this is just doing the opposite of what we feel. And I like the example here. A woman who's very angry with her boss and would like to quit her job may instead be overly kind and generous toward her boss and express a desire to keep working there forever. Because she can't express the way that she feels, she tries to be like super nice. And this is like, and oftentimes we see this with the people that are really fake, where they're just really not sure how to express the way they really feel about you. And so they act like you're the best person in the world, and you 100% know that they're not. You gross. Okay, regression, returning to an earlier comfort. Um, And this is just going back to something simple, something easy, something nice. This is why people get back into relationships so often. It's just like, no, that person's terrible for you, but it's so easy to date, and it's so easy to be have a significant other. Yeah, no. LOL. LOL, Lori. LOL. JK. JK. I wouldn't do that to Teddy. Okay. So then rationalization, coming up with, finding the silver lining in the dark cloud, seeing things that are bad and then just finding something good about it. This is a really good one. A woman who starts dating a man she really, really likes and thinks the world of him is suddenly dumped by the man for no reason. She reframes the situation in her mind. I suspected he was a loser all along. Or, so that's, this is her in a really bad situation, and so she comes up with this, like, she basically just lies to herself, like, oh, he was actually kind of crappy. And if someone's really crappy, it's a good thing that you guys broke up. So she's trying to find something good out of what's obviously a bad situation. Okay. Intellectualization, form of escapism, undertaking an academic or unemotional study of a topic. This is just a way of getting away from your problem by focusing on something that's difficult, or something that's going to take a lot of brain power in order for you to master. And finally, sublimation, channeling. This is your big word, or your key word, taking the energy of something that makes you mad or sad or angry and putting it into something else. Um, yeah, so person who has sexual impulses they would like not to act upon may go and work out or do something like that. Okay. All right, I did it. We got through all of that. Any questions before I move on to um, any questions before I move on to the different schools of psychology? Teddy, Teddy, you napping? Oh, Teddy's like out like a light. He didn't even budge. He's like right down below me. So I'll get him later before the end of the stream. So okay. Excuse me. All right. Any questions before I move on to the other stuff? Any questions? Now he'll wake up again because we got to go. I got to go take him bike riding before I go to bed. He's got to get a little more exercise. Yeah. Defense mechanisms were put together by Freud. Good question. Yep. I am currently just getting all these open. You guys have questions, go for it, but I'm just trying to get these different schools open. Josh, I'm going to ignore everything you just said, especially because you're not in my class anymore. Yeah, yeah. All but repression, all but the repression are considered legitimate. Yep. Good question, Daniel. Unlike the psychosexual stages, those are still good to go. Okay, so you guys seem pretty good. If you have other questions, we can come back to this. That's fine. Sorry. Okay. Got like a booger in my nose. Can you guys see? I think it's fine. I just made you guys look up my nose. I get paid to do this. I like doing my job. I like my job. Gross. Gross. Did I get, which ones did I get? All of them? Trait theory, humanistic, social cognitive. What am I missing? Neo-Freudian. Do I have Neo-Freudians? No, I don't. Okie dokie, artichoke. Okay. If you, I will try to keep this short. So, if you got a chance to watch Elizabeth Loftus, the video on Elizabeth Loftus, when she was talking, when they were doing the eyewitness testimony stuff, she talks about it at the very end. So, basically, a lot of the methods that Sigmund Freud used to delve into a person's unconscious. So we'll talk about this more when we get to therapy. But a lot of the stuff that Sigmund Freud dug out of the unconscious mind, a lot of it was fake. A lot of it wasn't real. So think back to reconstructive memory. And reconstructive memory is this idea that our memories are not are bullet point observations of things that happened in our life. They're not a full paragraph. They don't tell you everything that's going on. And they can be strongly affected by the way that people phrase questions, so framing. And what ends up happening is, and what ends up happening a lot, is Sigmund Freud and his patients, with Sigmund Freud and his patients and other people as well, is that he basically like implanted ideas into someone's mind accidentally, not on purpose. And those memories festered and grew and became things that people believed happened to them, even though they never happened. So think about the simple speed test that we did. I had all of you guys watch a cars race, or a set of cars get into a crash. And I think it was only in one class that didn't work. But in all the other classes, I gave you a sheet of paper, and on one of them it said crash, and on the other one it said smash. And for the group that said smash, I changed the way that many of you answered the question. Many of you said it was like, what I think it was like 8 on average, it was like 8 miles an hour faster or something like that. And so what's happening is the question would go something like this, or the interview would go something like this. You'd have the person in like a really relaxed state, and Sigmund Freud would start talking about like, okay, well, tell me something about what happened in your past. And the person would be talking about their childhood or whatever, and then he might ask a question like, were you ever touched in any way that was like inappropriate or something like that? And the person would be like, yeah, I think I remember. And then the questions would like guide them into this. And so you'd have people that recalled or remembered being like raped as a child, and it never happened. And it's all about the way that the questions were framed, the way that the questions were asked, and the statements were asked, and it affected the way that they remembered. So all of that to say that so much of Sigmund Freud's therapy and the way that he tried to help people didn't do anything. And there's no scientific way of um, measuring like the unconscious mind and measuring this idea of repression. How the heck are you supposed to scientifically prove that repression is a thing? That a person takes a memory, buries it deep down inside of themselves, and that they can't access it unless you're able to interpret their dreams. And so Sigmund Freud would interpret someone's dreams and interpret something that was in the unconscious mind, that thing they couldn't access, and it turned out to be made up. That Sigmund Freud would pull a fake memory out of people, and his questioning like got them to fake remember that. So that's a long diatribe. So Amir, I hope that answers your question with repression. Repression doesn't exist. You can't bury a memory. You can't forget a memory, um, even if it's traumatic. And just think about the crappiest day in your life. You're not going to forget that. Like it's going to stick. It doesn't matter how bad it is. It won't go away. So, yep. Okay, I know that was a really long description, but that's okay. Okay. So let's start with the Neo-Freudians. Okay. So, guys, Neo-Freudians. These are people that studied under Sigmund Freud. And as it says here, they agreed with many of the fundamental tenets of Freud's psychology, but many of them changed and altered what they thought was important, or didn't agree with certain aspects of Freud's work and altered what they thought was very important. So, this is a really important section right here. There are a few different reasons why these Neo-Freudian thinkers disagreed with Freud, for example, and blah, blah, blah. Other issues that motivated these things are important. Make sure that you know these. Freud was all about these sexual urges, like psychosexual stages. Not a lot of people agreed with a lot of what he said. A lot of people thought that social interactions and other concepts really helped shape and change how we grew and develop. Freud was really negative about people, like blah 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 blah, all those things. Make sure that you know Carl Jung. Carl Jung, the major thing that you need to know about Carl Jung is this collective unconscious. Understand that Carl Jung believed that we were all connected. Why is it that so many religions believe that there is one God? Why is it that a smile is a smile all the way around the world? Why do we all experience the same types of emotions? Why is it that murder is always bad? Like you're not going to go somewhere where killing someone else is like a cool idea. And then he's also talking about like instincts and stuff like that. And so he believes that we're all connected by this collective unconscious, that our unconscious mind, a part of our unconscious mind, we're going to have a personal unconscious, but part of our unconscious mind is connected or is a part of everyone else in the world. So lots of like trippy, hippie type stuff. Okay. Alfred Adler. Where is it? Make sure you know about this inferiority complex, Alfred Adler and the inferiority complex. And basically what he's saying is that a person's feelings and doubts that they do not measure up to other people or society is how we grow and develop. Like when you look across at the room at that other kid that's answering questions, you feel inferior to that person in some sort of way. And that motivates you in some manner. Think of it like cognitive dissonance. You see someone else and being really smart, and that makes you feel inferior. So now that gives you a choice. I can either drive myself, push myself to do better, blah 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 blah, or I can feel like a chump and not do anything. And so Alfred Adler, inferiority complex. Make sure you know that. Erik Erikson, you guys know about Erik Erikson. Make sure that you recognize the psychosocial development instead of the psychosexual. Erik Erikson differed majorly from Sigmund Freud in that he believed that social interactions was more important than these sexual urges. He didn't think that was a big deal. Also, Erikson believed that that throughout life there were those critical moments. And just go back to our work on developmental psychology and Erikson's crises. He believed that throughout life we have tons of things that are super important. Freud said that most of our personality was set in stone in early childhood, that most of who you are, basically all of who you are, is figured out before the age of 13. And Erikson's just like, no, we change and develop throughout time. So make sure you know those. And Karen Horney is kind of like the, wow, Freud, you're super sexist. And so she's like, kind of counteracting a lot of those things. So, okay, I just ran through those really quick. Any questions on that? Does that make sense? I feel like those are pretty explanatory once you just kind of recognize, oh, those are the major points. So cool. I love talking about Neo-Freudians. They're cool. They're just like, man, Freud, you cool, but you kind of crazy. So we're gonna step over here and do some things differently. So okay, I'm gonna take all of your silence as you guys are good. I think it's mostly there just to counteract Sigmund Freud's penis envy. But here, at the same time, like, people like girls don't have penis envy. That's like not legit a thing. So, yeah. Okay. Yes, Freud is #wild. Okay. So, next, personality trait theory. Okay. This is what you need to know. What do I want to tell you to focus on? Okay. So, think about traits as like just specific aspects of your personality. Trait theory is about breaking your personality down into subsequent parts. So think of it like chemistry, or think of it like the periodic table. It wants to break down all of your entire personality into different little compartments, into little parts. Um, so we've got Gordon Allport with the cardinal, central, and secondary traits. Just kind of be able to understand. Just know Gordon with the cardinal, central, and secondary traits, and just be able to like basically summarize those. Recognize that Raymond Cattell had the 16 personality questionnaire, or excuse me, the 16 personalities. Know that Raymond Cattell did the 16, and then Hans Eysenck was just like, well, I can break that down to 3, and then finally that the Big Five was taking both Cattell and Eysenck's work and creating the Big Five. And so these are the Big Five um, that are most important. So make sure that you know these 5. Fortunately, none of you guys rolled or chose um, uh, the Big Five as your FRQ. So, um, so yeah. So just make sure you know these. There are definitely some questions about these on the test, or excuse me, on the quiz. I have not made the test yet. So, um, do I need to explain any of these? Do you guys want me to go over? I mean, like, do any of these not make sense? Extroversion, openness to experience, agreeableness, conscientiousness, neuroticism. Are any of these uh, Any questions on these? Maggie, you said yes. What do I need to go over? It's a no, no, Arian. No, just know that that he has 16. And then know that that Eisnick has the 3. And then that the combination of those two turns out to be the big 5. And then know all of the big 5. Okay. Cool. All right. So I'm going to move forward because I think we're good with this. Okay, next. Humanistic. I don't think you need to worry about Kelly. Um, I have never seen Kelly talked about on the AP exam. Um, but yeah, yeah. Okay. So let's focus on Rogers and Maslow, and we're going to talk about Rogers more later when we get to therapy. So you probably won't get a lot of questions about him on the test. You might get one for the quiz, so just kind of know the general stuff. But we'll talk about him more later. Um, so make sure that you recognize self-actualization is the big goal, and remember that goes back to Abraham Maslow as well. Maslow's hierarchy of needs: self-actualization, the understanding of who you are as a person, and being happy, truly happy with yourself, and truly happy with where you're at. Recognizing your struggles, recognizing areas that you're not great in, but also recognizing the things that you are good at, the things that you are developing and growing, and accepting those things. That's what Rogers wanted for everybody. And what else did I want to say? I don't know. Just know that. I think you'll be fine knowing that. No, like, what else? No, just remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Mm, yeah, that's all you need to know. Just know the stuff that you already do with Abraham Maslow, and just remember, like, just kind of really understand what this self-actualization is. Um, so, what do I want to think? What do I want to say? Yeah. Okay. I feel like I'm good. Yeah. I don't think you guys need to know anything. Like, I don't think you guys need to know anything else about them. I think that's good. So if you have any questions about humanistic, you can come back and ask me. Okay, behavioralist. Okay, really just need to worry about Skinner and Rodder. Only worrying about Skinner and Rodder here, and just recognizing that all this is really saying. So propose that our differences in our learning experiences are the main reason behind our individual differences in behavior. Okay, your personality, the reason that you and I are different people is because of the experience that our experiences in life. The reason I am the way I am is 100% based on the stuff that has happened to me. Now, take a look back at like Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud is way different from this. He's talking about like all these inner, the id and the super ego and all of these like mystical things. Behaviorists and Skinner are like, heck no, we don't give a crap about any of that stuff. All these like, things that are going on in your mind. No, we're talking straight up experiences. What have you interacted with? What has happened to you that those things have created your personality. They have built your personality from that. That is huge. That is everything that BF Skinner is talking about. Is that our experiences create our personality. Okay? If you don't understand that, let me know. Okay? So for Rodder, um, you can kind of come down to the second paragraph. It kind of sets you up over here. It says the main viewpoint in the social learning theory of Rotter is that personality is a representation of the contact between the person and his environment. Therefore, this theory posits that we must consider both the individual and his environment before having a full understanding of his behavior. Rotter is simply piggybacking on Skinner and saying, yes, our experiences are very important, but also our um, our surroundings and our environment affect our personality, but our personality also affects our environment, so it kind of plays both ways. So just think of like Rotter as a guy that's just like, oh hey, yeah, Skinner, I hear you, but here, let me add this extra little thing, let me add this extra aspect to your theory. And that's what we're talking about. So um okay, cool. All right, good with that. Okay, and then finally, social cognitive. Um, where am I going? Okay. Um, okay. Albert Bandura, we're going to come back to again. Um, that we're going to come back to Bandura again later when we talk about therapy and talk about uh, like we'll come back. Promise. So let's come to this idea that, in a sense, agree that environment causes behavior. So he's going back and he's agreeing with a lot of stuff that Skinner and Rotter said. Um, so, especially this last part where it's talking about Rotter, behavior can also affect the environment. Um, so reciprocal determinism. So Bandura's approach to personality can be gleaned by this situation. Suppose an adolescent shows his aggressive personality trait because he is maltreated by his peers. When this person expresses his aggression by way of violent acts, he can trigger either a higher level of aggression or fear inside his peer mind, therefore changing his environment. So think about this idea of cognition, and you can even go back to the theory of emotion, like Schachter two-factor theory or cognitive appraisal theory. And all it's saying is that we have these behaviors, we have these things that we're affected by from the environment, but our response to that also alters and changes what's going on in the environment. And it's our mental like recognition of that. So I like to think of it almost like the environmental, or excuse me, the emotional theories, where the Schachter two-factor and the cognitive appraisal theory were just like the James Longa and the Canon Bard, but we just added that cognitive appraisal to it. Um, so Walter Mischel's theory of personality states that an individual's behavior is influenced by two things: the specific attributes of a given situation and the manner in which he perceives the situation. So yeah, that's it. I mean, that just make sure that you understand that. Um, um, Let me think. Do you need to? Yeah, you need to know the five person variables that contribute to the. Um, do you need to know this? Yeah, you know what? No, don't. You don't need to know all these. Have an idea of what's going on, but know this right here. As it says, in the end, Michelle believes that personality per se does not exist. So this is kind of a big concept right here, that Michelle's just like, no, we don't really have personalities. Like no one has a personality, like a set, kind of a set way of how they act and stuff like that. But our traits, as you know, we kind of talked about the trait theory before, the big five and stuff, are merely cognitive strategies or things we do for us to attain the kind of reward we want. Guys, think about the world. How often are you always the same? No, like we change depending on our role, we change depending on what's going on in the world. And so Michelle really kind of digs into that and is just like, listen, we don't have personalities. We just react in different ways that are um, um, we just do things in different ways in order to get the best result from it. So that's what I would take from that. That's the big thing I'd take away from that. Okay. Okay. So, um, that is all of the lecture content that we have. Do you guys have any questions? We went through that pretty quick. Okay. Do they have- I'm trying to look at these defense mechanism examples that I have online. Do I have the answers to them? I don't. Oh well. I don't have them posted. I can tell you the answers, but okay. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. You are correct. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? Are we good? Are we Gucci? If I were you, I would um, hop on. Especially if you have defense mechanisms tomorrow for your uh, for the FRQ, definitely check out the defensive mechanism examples on Schoology. They're good. They don't have the answers, but most of them are pretty simple. Some of them are like you could pick two, um, but they're good practice, and they're good practice anyways because there will very likely be some on the quiz tomorrow. There will be some, so it's just a matter of how many. Okay, so I'm done. I'm going to bed. It's 9:30. Actually, I got to play with Teddy. I have to go bike Teddy first. Teddy, Teddy, Teddy. Ooh, he is out. Teddy, come here. Come here, puppy dog. Oh yeah, you're tired. You were napping? Well, everyone wants to say hi to you. Come on. Hello. Hello. Yes, thank you. You bud. Yeah. Mwah. Well, guys, thank you for hopping onto the stream. Teddy and I appreciate it, but we are going to go for a little bike ride. No, he's tired. Yeah. All right. No problem, guys. I did yawn a lot. I'm sorry. I had to do the track meet today, so I was a little worn out. So yeah, yeah. So okay, get this set up. Okay. Well, thanks again, guys, for hopping on. Hope you guys have a good night. Make sure you get to bed here in the next 30, 45 minutes, please. Daniel, stop watching anime. Rot your brain. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a great night. What?